Good afternoon, everyone. It's 6/4/2019, and I want to talk about the Trump peace plan and the fact that they're saying now that the plan is probably going to be pushed back to 2020. Said the U.S. peace plan is postponed to the year 2020. This article appeared in the Jerusalem Post on 6/2/2019. The original article was in a UAE-based paper, Al Khalij, online. The report claimed that the new release date will be set by Trump's senior advisor and son-in-law, Jared Kushner. There also appeared a video showing Secretary of State Mike Pompeo speaking to a group of Jewish leaders in the U.S. saying that Trump's peace plan between Israel and the Palestinians may be unexecutable. It is being described as dead on arrival. And meanwhile, Netanyahu on Jerusalem Day states that Iran gives Hezbollah about $700 million a year. And I guess they used some of that $700 million a year a week or so back when they fired those over 600 rockets into Israel. And they, of course, support all those groups over there financially to be able to get all the rockets and fire all that stuff over there. And that's the reason why the U.S. is over there right now. And that's why we had an incident that was published in a thing published on May 31st, and I'm going to mention here in a second. Damascus countdown continues. Could it be that because of the Trump peace plan being further pushed back, that the next event on the Lord's calendar is Isaiah 17 being fulfilled? And maybe that's what kicks off the Ezekiel 38 that we've been talking about. And of course, we know that the New World Orders has the order out of chaos, and the Third World Wars that were outlined by Albert Pike way back at the end of the 1800s. We've had two of those three wars, and there's one still yet to come. And I believe that, like I've said in previous videos, that World War III is Ezekiel 38. I wanted to read Isaiah 17 here. I wrote that down. I mentioned it this past week before. The burden of Damascus. Behold, Damascus is taken away from being a city, and it shall be a ruinous heap. And this takes place overnight because the city is there in the day, and then it's there overnight. Something happens, and the following day when the sun comes up, it's nothing but a ruinous heap. And in the meantime, we'll continue to keep watching and waiting, and occupying and redeeming the time. And other story I wanted to mention that was related to this thing with the Damascus thing is that they had U.S. forces blow up 3 oil tankers in Syria, enforcing the oil embargo, and that was published on May 31st. And then lastly, I wanted to talk about Planet X. I know a lot of people, they don't believe in Planet X, so on and so forth, but there was a video about Planet X being confirmed. And the person mentioned that according to the website IntelliHub.com, back in 2014, a winged disc could be found on the Google Sky program. And after a blocked out section was finally removed, people have been speculating about the existence of this planet for decades. Space.com put out an article in 2012 debunking Planet X. Could this winged planet found in this Google Sky that you can go on there and see now be the proof that we have been looking for? And could it be on a path that it's drawing it closer to the planet? And could that be why we're seeing all of these increased volcanoes and earthquakes getting stronger, and 500, hundreds of tornadoes in a month? I think it was 500 or something in the month of May. It's just unbelievable. Who would have ever thought that we would be seeing like 500 tornadoes in a month? And yet, last year, he was talking about shocking events and unprecedented events that were coming, judgments that were coming to the country. And that was in 2018 and some of the videos I did then. And now we're beginning to see that stuff. And is this, Planet X that they're seeing on the Google sky? Is it the wormwood spoken about in the book of Revelations and Revelation 8, and I've got 10 and 11. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon a third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of water. And the name of the star is called Wormwood, and the third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. And then going beyond that, it says in number 12, verse 12, and the fourth angel sounded, and a third part of the sun was smitten, and a third part of the moon, and a third part of the stars, so as the third part of them were darkened, and the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise. And I beheld and heard an angel flying in the midst of saying in a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the three angels which are yet to sound. And that's in those trumpet judgments, and that's in the 8th chapter of the book of Revelation. So like I say, with the Trump plan being on hold, is it possible that the next thing that on the agenda is going to be Isaiah 17 and the destruction of Damascus over there? And then will that event trigger off Ezekiel 38, set that off, and then after a war, which I think when the rapture of the church takes place, it's going to be at the beginning of the onset of a war. That's the sense that I've always had for quite some time here, the last year or two. And so is it possible that the Ezekiel war comes first after Isaiah 17, and then, before that, the rapture of the church, and then out of that, the ashes of that, whatever takes place over in the Middle East, comes the Middle East peace plan and comes this man of sin. We'll just have to wait and see. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing, and God bless each and every one of you in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. I'll see you again soon.